Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Growth Class. I'm your host, Phil Masiello. Every entrepreneur dreams of finding that one wide open space in a crowded market, a problem so serious once you see it, but completely ignored by the major industries. Our guest today did exactly that, and she built a powerhouse brand by filling it. Chimere Faulk is a professional loctician. I made that word up, I think. No,
You
known
did?
to thousands of her loyal clients and followers and natural hair lady. Back when she was styling hair, she kept hitting the same frustrating wall. The market was flooded with heavy, oil clogged, wax heavy products that built up and damaged locks over time. And the industry simply wasn't making products designed for the actual physics and health of locks. So she combined her hands on expertise with her background in creative advertising, mass communication to build a solution from scratch. And she formulated a plant based, water soluble line that completely disrupted the natural hair space. So today, she's the founder and CEO of Dr. Locs, a beautifully scaled, booming direct-to-consumer brand that stands as a masterclass in product market fit and community-driven growth. So we're going to take a look at how she transitioned from a specialized service provider to a global product founder, how she scaled her digital brand, and the real grit it takes to to build a product line from the ground up. So Shamir, welcome to the Growth Class. Thank you for taking the time to come on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So, yeah, why don't you? I'm sure I butchered your whole background with the intro, but why don't you take us through it because it's an interesting category, not one that I'm extremely familiar with. But let's uh, let's see.
Yes. So I have been, so you said it right, loctician. So loctician is someone that is a stylist that deals with locks. Locks are matted hair, commonly known as dreads. And a lot of people don't like that term. So we go from dreads to locks, whatever. It's the same thing. And so I've been a loctician for the past 20 years. And about, what was it, 2000? It was like 2010. I think Chris Rock came out with his movie Good Hair. They came out, and around that time, people were discovering what they were putting in their hair, and so a lot of people went natural. And what I mean by that, people that are in the African American community, when we're deciding we don't want to perm our hair, chemically processed to make it straight, we're realizing that's damaging to us health wise, and we want to go natural, wear our hair naturally. But when that was happening, a lot of regular product lines were actually creating natural hair products, but they weren't understanding the lock community. The lock community is a smaller community. So you have the hair industry, you have the natural hair industry, and you have the lock. And it's commonly not really understood. And I think a lot of brands were like, oh, it's too much of a niche market. We don't really understand it. It's, or we'll offer this one thing to them. So that was what was happening while I was doing hair. All these natural hair products came out, and my lock clients were like, "Oh, I heard this was cool because this one little jar, it was like something like kind of an afterthought thought." So at this time I was traveling doing hair as well. And I'm a SEO nerd. So I created a website to have people call, fly me out and you could do their hair. But what was happening after I would do their hair, they were like, Shamir, what am I supposed to use now? Really excited. And I'm like, okay, well, use that and use that. And every time I would tell them to use that, they'll FaceTime me and then they're showing me what would be buildup, product buildup. So what happens when someone with locks uses a conditioner that someone with loose hair will use, that product will get stuck in their hair
Yeah.
and then create a stigma that they don't wash their hair. That's a kind of an old time situation, not so much now, but it's been like, oh, you have locks, you don't wash your hair, you don't clean your hair. So, but what I have clients that are like lawyers, doctors, teachers. They want to be at their best. And so what was happening, I would tell them to stop use that don't use that. I changed my mind. And after saying that 33 times, they're like, Shamir, what the hell am I supposed to be using then? So I was like, all right, let me just make something. I never in a million years thought I was going to make a product line. I just wanted to make something so I wouldn't have to deal with this anymore. So I went online, did some research as far as what oils would create like soft hair, what wouldn't be harmful for pregnant women, all just about my target audience. And I literally put all the ingredients I loved in a bottle and shook it up and used the water from the sink, shook it up and then started using it. And at this time, my salon was in my living room. So I'm using it on their hair and I'm like, would you mind? I made this. Like, sure, they love me. Sure. So after time, they were like, Shmir, I really like that. Can you sell me some? So I'm looking at them like, okay, I guess this is what retail is because you could do it yourself, but okay, whatever. So I went to Sally's, I bought some bottles and made some for $5, not any math into it, just doing it. And so this one day, Miss Brenda, this is when Dr. Locs was born. Miss Brenda, my elder client, she came in. I always touch my client's hair before I take it to the sink. And she's just going on about something. And I'm looking at her hair, I'm touching, I'm like, why is her hair so soft? I did not think about the thing I sold her. So I'm like, Miss Brenda, why is your hair so soft? She's like, that's the girl, that stuff that you sold me. And I'm like, oh, okay. And after this time doing hair for about 8 years, I've never felt hair like that, even with my own. And so I realized now I have something. So my background with marketing clicked in. My goal was to all the issues my clients were coming to me, I wanted to create a solution in a bottle. So what I discovered and I started looking into this, most women have a system. They do this, their mom used this system, but there was no system with the lock community. It was like a jar of something. So I wanted to create a culture, create a community that says, I understand you and I have what you need. Not an assumption that this is who you are, because that was what was going on at the time. Like, oh, you're from the Caribbean islands, and you are a rebel. And I know my clients, so I knew at some point down the line there are going to be other bigger brands because they weren't understanding what was happening in my world. They were like, oh, natural hair, but I knew what was happening, what was coming. So let me nestle myself in this community and let me blog about things. And I started blogging and using keywords and talking about just simply answering all the questions my clients were asking me. And
Sure.
so eventually, product line came up, drlocs.com. I started with Etsy, and drlocs.com launched in 2014, about that. And it just blew up. It blew up. I wasn't really into YouTube. Everyone was YouTubing and all that. And
Yeah.
so I quickly discovered the power of YouTube because uh, um, an influencer reached out to me and didn't realize how big she was. She's like, hey, can I do a video? I was like, what is this about? Because what at the time, I don't know if you remember, they was like bought a bunch of shakes and people like, oh, I lose weight for this shake. And they weren't using that shake. So with me, I'm like, I keep it real. I'm like, I need you to really be a customer. So let me give you a trial. Let me give you some and you tell me if you like it or not. So I gave her some. She gave me the ABC, what she loves about it. I was like, cool. So then we decided to do a video. She made a video, how to use it, what her opinions are about it, posted it, and then it was like Wall Street. Look, numbers are rolling. I'm like, wow. Okay. So I learned her influence. She were able to influence her village. And so my village was my client. So I did well with my clientele, but then I realized what this marketing thing was different from what I went to school with. Was like, oh, we have these, everyone has a village, and then if we team up, we can, share what we are offering and stuff. So from there, other YouTubers wanted to do a video, and then eventually I was in a magazine, Ebony magazine, and it just blew up. And now at this point, I'm in my living room. So remind you, I had my salon in my living room. So then now I have to set up shop, a manufacturing situation in my living room as well. So now I have friends and family coming and helping bottle. My little daughters, they're like 3 and 4. They're like watching this whole process. And so I had a whole house full of people manufacturing, getting their hair done. And I created this whole universe essentially where I am now going online because I'm not a saleswoman, but I am an educator. So I'm educating them, telling them what works well. You have a problem. I created a solution. And so in 2020 happens. I'm at a bigger apartment. And at this point, I have 5 employees. I literally have learned how to grow this business on its own. I never took a business course at all. I just went to school for marketing, and I'm a hairstylist. So that's what I had. So at this point, things are going bananas during COVID. People buying more product online. I'm like, oh my gosh. 2 o'clock, two employees didn't feel comfortable working in there. They wanted to work from home, so they did that. Then I had other two in my house, and it was just crazy. Like, and so I was like, all right, I need a warehouse. So I saw the growth, and I was like, all right, this is not going anywhere. I did not realize 2020 was a unicorn year, but here we are. So I got me a 72 square foot warehouse and I built it out. It's a lot of learning lessons right here. And it took me about a year to finish it. And then we finally moved in. Amazing. I bought all the things, all the shelves, and I was gonna have a call center, and it was just all these things. And so at this point, I had around this time I had migrated. I created like I had a content team. I had people running my systems. The business was running on its own at this point, and I had a lot of ads. We had a lot of ads. We were like spending like $900 every 3 days, and it was coming in, coming in, coming in. Lo and behold, in April 2021, I got a phone call, and my ad person said someone hacked into my ad account. And so I didn't know how that was going to impact me, but it was a huge deal. So somehow someone hacked into it. Then they shut down my ad account. And I didn't realize how much I was bringing in from my ads. So at this point, I was making six figures each month. And I was scheduled to move into my warehouse by September. This is April. So when that happened, my revenue shot down that summer, damn near like 50%. And then also during that summer, Apple had something happened. They didn't like something with Meta. So they made it so people needed to
They
give permission
restricted
to the data.
they restricted where how we could target.
Yes. So at that point, all the people running ads went out of business because they didn't have data anymore. And so me trying to kick up
Well, we
enough
still
data.
had data, we just
Yeah,
didn't have as specific the data as we did before, we
exactly.
just had to shift.
And people didn't understand what they were being asked as well.
Yeah.
So I had to shift, and that time I shift more back into my emails, and I recognized that's the best place to be. And then eventually I moved out of that warehouse because I realized my expenses I need to be profitable. So I had to cut my expenses down. I moved to a smaller warehouse, 450 square feet. I loved it. And this worked. But I also had to let go of my employees as well. So that happened, and I've literally that's where kind of where I've been since then. And so my business essentially shot up fast in the beginning, and then now, and it was right under a million, and then it's been like this ever since. And one thing someone told me a long time ago, they said once to break that million, you have to get more people. You have to bring people in. I didn't really understand what that meant. Um, and so this is where I'm at. The business, I've recently learned how like my return customer rate is high, is 70%. So I realized like, okay, I'm doing pretty well. There's been a lot of things going on with me as a CEO. Um, and so yeah, I got a lot of things I've learned about things, and, steadily because people are calling and ordering online. Retailers, we grew our retail. I had about 35 retailers around the world. But we're during this transition with the economy, a lot of businesses weren't in business anymore. So that affected me. So I've been doing things a little kind of organically to grow my business. But I'll pause right there because I know you have some questions, but a lot of things.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I mean, I understand exactly what you went through, and it's fairly common, but I don't understand what you mean by somebody told you that when you get to 1,000,000, you have to start bringing people in, like,
So
in
I
what way?
let me just say this, I'm learning, okay? And I feel like I'm learning, but also I gotta realize I know what I'm doing as well. So what they're meant by that is like someone coming in with I believe in staying in your lane and in your like my lane is marketing and my lane is like the educating hair, but when it comes to finances, that's not my area, or operations, that's not my area. And I learned that. I took the Goldman Sachs program in 2024, learned a lot about me as a leader, operation wise. I never had SOPs, didn't even know what that was. So, what they meant by that is bringing people in that can help me get to that scale. Because the way I'm doing it is like, all right, let me hire this person. Let me but like the bigger picture. And where I'm at now, I can honestly say I don't know what button to press to get me to that next level. I have a beautiful apple tree, but I don't know which apple to pick right now. So yeah, that's what they meant by that. So
Yeah, I can understand that. I mean, when it comes to things like finance and operations, you want to sort of bring in people to do it, but not necessarily full time. When you get to that million, you sort of want to outsource it, but you want to keep control of it, right? You want to start acting like a CEO at that level, but at the same time, you're still growing and you still have to be in it every day, right? Until you get to the like $10 million range when you become more of a CEO and more of a delegator. But that's where your SOPs and your processes come in, come into play a little bit more. But just getting back to the product real quick, but the product's also applicable to Rose, right? Because they have that's the same problem, right? When people do, yeah, like the Rose, like, yeah.
cornrows.
And it's the
So
same, isn't it the same thing? Because I have a friend who has one and like they have to put like oils and stuff on it to keep because they're twisting it or something. And
so someone with locks can cornrow their hair back, but I think that you're not talking about that. I think that's another hairstyle, but it's different. I don't know if your friend, when they take their cornrows down, is it loose or is it locked? Is it
uh
loose like ours?
well, they don't really take them down. They've had them like,
It just braided back every
yeah, it's
time?
braided back and they're growing them longer in the back, but,
Okay.
I know that they said, they have to go and they have to get special products so that they don't, A, dry out, B, it doesn't get gunked up with stuff because they can't, like, scrub their head,
Mhm.
and, so I didn't know if it was the same.
Mm-mm. So it's not. That person just simply has natural hair and they just want to make sure it's moisturized. But when someone has locks, they can do styles, but when they take it out, it doesn't look like this. It's combined. So they might be bigger, smaller, but each lock is a bunch of strands together that will hold on to product. With your friend, when by them having cornrows, what's happening when they go back to the person takes the cornrows out and then re-cornrows it back. And in between time, while they are not with that person, they're maintaining the rows and making sure it's just moisturized and stuff. But so they can use any product. But for them, it's probably safe for them to use like natural product. They probably want to use those things and making sure it's not flaking up. But lot community is a whole nother
You're
thing.
talking Bob Marley locks.
Yeah, well, so that's another when you have locks, there's different sizes you can do. So some people may have them like really, really tiny. You have sister locks, you have free forming. So Bob Marley had free forming. And so there's certain people, they might even have a religion as well where they don't want to retwist and you won't see their scalp. It's just freely growing as it wants to. And all of them can be healthy. So where I come in, I want to just provide something that their hair is clean and the thing that they're putting in it is not getting stuck in their hair. So
Yeah. Yeah,
does that make
yeah,
sense?
I can understand that, yeah. So where you're at right now, how many people you have working? Is it mostly just you and now you're
It's
just
me
focused
and
on
one other person. One
because
other
you
person.
have, I mean, you have strong retention. If you've got 70% retention, I mean, you got strong, uh, um, long-term value from your customers, which
That's
is a great thing. Now you
They're
just have
not
to
playing with
expand
me.
it.
They it's so dope where I love to call customers instead of emailing them back. They have a problem with their order. Hey, and just to hear the stories of like, you're the owner. I've been using this for 10 years. Da, da, da. And so yeah, they're not playing. Like they love that I answer their questions, the things they're thinking about in their emails. And so yeah, where I'm at now, I have one other person. I what she does is fulfillment, bottle, label and unpackage raw material when they come in. For me, I'm maintaining the inventory, our marketing, the emails, uh, and customer service. So that's where we're at right now. So, and the goal is to increase her hours so that she can make the product as well, and also hire someone that could they can tag team. So someone's not doing everything all.
So you're actually manufacturing the product.
Yes, I'm the manufacturer as well.
You're manufacturing and bottling,
Yes, send help.
and you don't
Yes.
have to have any, like, certifications to do that or anything?
Mm. I've looked that up, people ask me that for forever, and so it's only when you are trying to go into certain retail stores, meaning they have certain requirements that, like, for instance, Whole Foods, I know there's certain ingredients that they don't allow, and I haven't gotten to that. My retailers are, like, small beauty supply stores. They're not, like, Target or anything like that, so they're like they want it because the customers want it, and, but no, it has been not no requirements. So
Have you looked at outsourcing that manufacturing?
so yes, but since that happened, I need the money to pay for it. So that I have, and I've reached out to people in different states and stuff, but I just haven't been ready yet. At that point I was ready, but I didn't think about that at the time. So that's something I definitely want to take my time with, because my customer base, they cherish the fact that I'm very responsible with what I'm using. And they trust what I use. So seen the history with people shifting from in their kitchen to a manufacturing facility, and then things change. So this is me listening and trying to figure out how I could do it and make sure it maintain the integrity of the product. So
Yeah, I mean, a contract manufacturer is gonna do what you tell them to do. So the people who make the change, they're not controlling the process. They're letting the manufacturer say to them, "Oh, I can save you some money if I do this and this and this." But when you go into a contract manufacturer, if you say, "This is what I'm doing and this is what I wanna maintain," they do it.
but what I've learned, because I got my ears to the street, what has happened, specifically Carol's daughter, for instance, I know people that literally would go and buy it from her personally in New York, but they said when it got bigger, it was just it things shift when you are making huge amounts. So there has
Well,
to be some adjustment.
it
There has
depends. I mean, there's no question that it's no different than food. If I make, potato salad and I make 2 pounds of potato salad that I use in my house, right? And I scale that up to 200 pounds, yeah, there's gonna be a difference because
Yeah.
but what happens with beauty products is that people that are doing it in a small batch, like Carol's daughter, when they started to scale up and got on, HSN, was it HSN, I think, or QVC, one of those, and they started to sell, the ingredients that they were using in your house can't flow through the supply chain. So the product has to change for your own safety and the customer safety because, like, you can't, you can't just put any product out there. It's got nothing to do with, trying to change it. It's got
Right.
to do with being safer. So you just have to come up with a solution.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, we faced that problem when we were doing beauty products and we had a manufacturer in Florida. And, we said, we don't want to change this. And they said, well, you're going to have to change this because, we were on the shopping channels. They said HSN's not going to allow it. And Whole Foods is not going to allow it. And Walgreens and Target, nobody's going to allow this ingredient. So you have to change it. And we can give you an item that's identical. It's something that, did it change the product a little bit? A little bit. And you're always going to have a few customers. But the reality of it is when you think about how many customers you have now and how many you can have by scaling up, it's a small price to pay. And
Mhm.
if you explain it correctly to people,
Exactly.
they'll understand it.
That's
It's the people who you hear the horror stories, the ones who go in and say, um, okay, I want to make this. And the manufacturer says, well, I can save you 50, half your cost if we change to this. And then they dummy down the product. That's where you get into trouble.
So I'm very, very open. I've done some research, I've talked with people, and you're right. And so, and then there's always gonna be have you're not gonna satisfy everyone, you know? But this happened. So my thing is transparency and just education. So during 2020, I also consulted with a chemist because I wanted to make color-based products for the color people that color their locks. And I wanted to make a cream. So historically, I've always been like, no creams for locks, no creams. But I was like, no one's made it specifically for locks. So me and him teamed up and we made 3 formulas. But what happened, there were like ingredients that no one really understood. And so historically also everyone in our community will say, you don't use something you can't pronounce. You
Right.
don't 17, right? But what I learned through working with a chemist that there's people that studied hair, they know what they're doing, and so what I did instead on the ingredients, I would simply explain to them after each ingredient, this is what this is doing. This is what this is doing. So they feel people just want to know. So you don't have to Google. I'll tell you what this is because. So I'm really excited about doing that because my customer base trusts me and 'cause I actually use it myself on my clients. And I do understand that it's just I've had to get over the fact that I can't satisfy everyone. And in order for me to grow, that will happen.
But it's not about satisfying everyone. It's just about following, like, the regulations, like, we, when we did, the beauty products, there were certain items that we just didn't want to ever have in the product, and, because we were raw, and we said, we didn't wanna have a preservative system that, because we could have easily put in a less expensive preservative system, and it would have altered the product because it was raw. So it wasn't we didn't cook, we didn't heat the product and emulsify it like everybody else does. So we had to do it in a specific way, and that was like something that we would have never flexed on. But it caused us problems as we went to Europe and other places, Canada, because they looked at what we were doing in a different way, and we had to explain it. We had to go through a whole bunch of stuff before they finally understood it. So, but there's
Yeah,
ways to do it,
really.
but there are certain things you just don't want to give up. But you can always, you're never going to satisfy everybody, but what you want to do is be able to satisfy the people that matter.
Mhm.
And because there's always going to be vocal people. Heck, we were probably one of the cleanest products out there, and there was a database that people looked at, and they would take some of our ingredients and run it through the database and say, "Oh, this is a terrible product," and you're going, "No, it's not." You don't know what you're looking at, and you have to explain it. But it's like those people, the people that are that fanatical about
Mhm.
every single, you don't even want them because you're never going to please them because they're always going to find something and they look for it. They're not going to be satisfied until they find something to be
Exactly.
mad about.
As
So
I've evolved as a CEO so much for the past 14 years.
yeah,
But it's like I can't and then a long time ago when I first started, it was like I try to tell people these terms are marketing, natural, virgin, and so no one I can't sell something that's virgin through the mail. Like that needs to be in a refrigerator. And so I try to explain some preservatives. I can't sell it to you. I'm selling mold to you.
yeah, yeah,
So I love to break things down so people understand. Like I understand what you're thinking, but you may need to make your own stuff if you want that
yeah,
raw.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, we're pretty much out of time. I appreciate you coming on. Any last words? How do people find you? They go to drlocs.com, LOCS.
Yes, drlocs.com. And on Instagram, we're really active on there. Me directly is Chimere Faulk, Chimerefaulk. But everything online with Dr. Locs is the same name, DRLOCS. And yeah, so I that's just about it. There's so much more I can say, but, like, I'm here and I love educating. I actually am still doing hair. I went back and started doing hair
Oh,
again.
good.
It's my why, and I'll leave off by saying this. I always tell new entrepreneurs, never start a business because of money. It has to be something out of money because your why has to be for me, is the education of the lock community, but because businesses will go up and down, fluctuate, and you'll drive yourself nuts because it will go up and down. So it has to be your why has to be something other than money.
Yep. Yep.
So
Yeah. So again, I appreciate you coming on. I think it was a great discussion. I hope everybody got something out of it, and good luck in the future.
thank you so much.